This is the TST 20-inch carrier, long tail cargo bike. Let's go over some of the features. It has a 7-speed derailleur, has this long tail to accommodate our big rack on the back. It has these really nice plastic things in here that if you were to carry a kiddo on the back, it keeps their toesies from going into the chain and getting caught. Nice touch. The rack itself, you can see, is rather generous. It has this nice wood plank on it. It also came with this seat that you can either put in place of the plank or you can put it above the plank. There's a lot of different configurations for this to make it really flexible. I think it's probably most flexible like this. You could put any kind of box, a milk crate, a cooler, whatever you need to carry your stuff around. And I think that's really, it really can take a lot of advantage of e-bike capabilities by using a carrier. It has the 20 amp hour battery goes right here. This is the TST logo. I still can't make out how that says TST, but in any case, I think it looks pretty good. Front suspension, no rear suspension, has disc brakes front and rear, but they are only cable brakes, which is kind of unique. Most of the bikes at this point have hydraulic brakes. I'm a little disappointed it only has cable brakes, but so far in the riding that we've done, the cable brakes have performed just great. And also, if you want to carry kiddos, you have this optional bar here. You can remove this or leave it on. It is a place for someone to put their feet, again, to keep their toes and shoes out of the wheels. It uses a center stand instead of a kickstand or a side stand. Makes it way more stable, especially if you're trying to load it. It's nice that it's sitting level and not on an angle. We have a very nice, comfortable seat. At the handlebars, we have a pretty basic display and gauge, but I actually really like it because it has nice big buttons that I can see. These buttons right here control our power modes up and down. We can turn our headlight on or off, power button, or you can go into the menus. Our brakes that we've talked about already, and our shifter. It has kind of a nice big buckhorn handlebar, which makes it a little bit more comfortable. 80-mile range, 20-inch by 4 wheels, 150-pound capacity on the rack. That's a lot. I think it has a 350-pound payload capacity overall to accommodate the rider and whatever you want to carry. But enough of that. What's it like to ride? So, first riding thoughts on the TST Carrier, 20-inch long tail cargo bike. It's long. You can kind of feel the length. You have to think about it when you go around tight turns, like pulling a trailer or driving a station wagon or a big long passenger van. But let's head into our high-speed testing zone. We'll see what top speed we can get out of the TST Carrier 20-inch long-tail cargo bike. Go to Power Mode 5. Go to Top Gear and the 7-speed Shimano derailleur. Let's see what she's got. 32 miles an hour. We saw 32 miles an hour. It's a little bit of a blustery day. Yeah, 32 miles an hour. Not bad. I mean, you're riding a cargo bike. You could potentially have kids sitting in the back seat or your groceries. How fast do you really want to go? All right, now through our high-speed chicane. Let's see how it does through the turns. It's a long bike. And actually really stable through there. Long wheelbase, right? Kind of makes it more stable, makes it a little more plush over the bumps. You do feel like you're leaning a little bit more through those turns, but pretty good. I give that stability a pretty high score. I'd be comfortable riding this thing. Right, now we start our uphill challenges. We're gonna stay in Power Mode 5 because that's how people are gonna ride the thing. And I'm not pedaling too hard, 16 miles an hour. That's not bad. I could probably push it a little harder. We'll shift up a gear. 19, 20 miles an hour. Pretty good. Pretty good. Nice and stable through those little twisty bends. I mean, we're going 20 miles an hour. The speed limit is 15. We're speeding. We're speeding through the bike park. Got a little 9% downhill. See what kind of velocity she'll pick up on her own. 24, 19, 20. Seems like 20 miles an hour is the speed kind of wants to go. Seems about right. Yeah, it picks up some speed. I wasn't looking down. I was trying not to run off the trail there. Yeah, 20-inch wheels. They're a little smaller than, a lot of bikes are coming with 26 or even 27.5 or 29-inch wheels. So 20 inches small. But that seems to be what most cargo bikes are running these days. The advantage of a smaller wheel is it takes less energy to accelerate, slow down, and change direction. Downside of them is they're a little bit more reactive. All right, we're going up our big 11% grade. Let's see what it does. I'm kind of talking too much about wheel size, and we're motoring up that at 16 miles an hour. That's not the fastest bike we've ever. 18, we got 18 near the top. Not bad. Considering you could be hauling upwards of 150 pounds in the back rack, because that's what that's rated for. Blustery day. They say we're going to get snow tomorrow. Kind of hard to imagine. It's almost 75, 80 degrees outside. So like most e-bikes these days, we do have a throttle. The throttle is a thumb throttle. It's over here, and we can use it by itself, or we can do pedal assist, and as soon as we start pedaling, the motor kicks on and starts accelerating. Of course, we're going downhill here, not a good place to test that. Or you can turn the battery or turn the motor all the way off and just pedal it like a good old-fashioned push bike. But seeing how the TST 20-inch carrier long-tail cargo bike is going to be hauling cargo, I don't suspect many people are going to run it without the battery. One thing that kind of surprised me about this bike as we head into our tunnel, there's no bell. There's no bell for us to test. We can't see how loud or quiet the bell is because no bell. We can see the gauge. I'm gonna go down in power mode. Seems like 5's a little excessive for a downhill trail. 18 miles an hour as I soft pedal down this hill. Yeah, so 30 miles an hour. Technically in a 15 mile an hour zone. Yeah, it gets along just fine. Now, I have to confess, I've been pretty excited about this one. I think these cargo bikes really kind of take a lot of advantage of really what an e-bike is capable of. The very first e-bike I tested, I was really excited about, but I was immediately a little discouraged because, say I just want to run to the grocery store, I want to run to the post office, where do I put my stuff? So you're always running around with a backpack on your back or a messenger bag. But with this big giant tray in the back, I don't have to. It kind of becomes a little bit more convenient. It's a little bit more like a Vespa scooter that has the big trunk under the seat. I have a place to store my stuff. And in this case, it also comes with a seat. You could put kiddos back there. So you could haul the kiddies to the park. Or do your errands, go grocery shopping, pick up the 6-pack of milk or the loaf of bread or whatever else your daily staples are. And instead of your little errand being a chore, it's you're on a bicycle, and it just can't be understated how much fun bicycles are. And we are moving today, carrying a lot of speed as we head up to do our lap around the park. And one thing that's great about the little thumb throttles, you get to these little hills here, you just hit the throttle and it'll just motor you up the hill without too much effort, which is really nice. And here we are for a lap around our local park, Sugar House Park. It's pretty quiet in the park today. You think with a storm brewing, people would want to take advantage of this little vestige of warm weather. Now, I was talking about the tires earlier. We have these 20-inch wheels as opposed to a 26 or a 27.5 or even a 29. But they are a nice, chunky 4-inch wide tire. They are a fat tire, which means the bike will have more control and precision when we're off the beaten path. So let's do a little single track run, see how it does. Yeah, not bad. The bike has front suspension, no rear suspension, and you can kind of tell she gets a little wandery if you try to go too quick. Don't hit the stick. But pretty good. It's stable. You can run this thing on dirt paths with really no stress, probably depending on how precious or delicate the cargo you have in the back carrier. Oh, look out, squirrel. Look out, squirrel. Bold squirrel. Man, it's just a nice day to go out for a ride. And I just love that about all these e-bikes. 1,500 watts of power in this one. That's plenty to carry your stuff. 20 amp hour battery. I believe that gives you an 80-mile range. 80 miles. That's a long ways to haul stuff. I suspect most people are never going to get near that 80-mile range, but it's nice to have it. Range anxiety is a real thing. I do feel a little vulnerable without my little horn. I think that would be something I would add to it right away, is I just order up a horn, right? Probably a nice big brass bell horn, because you do go quicker than probably the world is really used to yet. We're used to bicycles going 6 to 10 miles an hour. We're not really used to them doing 30. All right, time for our lap around the park. Shift into an easier gear. Got Mount Olympus up there in all of her beautiful glory. A pretty afternoon. Seagulls in the pond today. The ducks are all up getting fed bread by some kiddos. Still in power mode 3. Now, one thing this bike does that I think is really interesting, because I don't know how well you can see this little blue graph here at the bottom, but it tells us how much throttle is being used and how intense. So power mode 5, it goes right up to the top really quickly. If I use just the thumb throttle, it ramps up a little bit more slowly, which I think is fantastic. If I switch to a lower power mode, go to power mode 1 for say, it's based on speed. I'm only going 6-7 miles an hour. Look, it only ramps up to 2 lines of throttle. If I go up to power mode 2, it'll go to a higher speed, but it ramps in really nice. A lot of these e-bikes, as soon as you touch the throttle or as soon as you start pedaling, they just go to full throttle, which, if on some bikes that's totally fine and kind of what you want. You kind of want all the gas. But in the case of a cargo bike where you're potentially hauling something, the ability to control how that throttle ramps up, how fast you're going in a given situation, is really nice. I think that's a really great feature of the TST, is how the throttle ramps in and how it stops based on a certain speed, right? So apparently 13 miles an hour is where power mode 3 stops. Power mode 4, it's gonna take us up to 16, 17 miles an hour. So graduated throttle, nice touch. Down the hill, through the bends. Again, nice and stable, that longer wheelbase. I think, perfect for what you want out of a cargo bike where you're going to be carrying things. You want that added stability. Let's go to a heavier gear. Now, you could ride along with just throttle, so no pedaling. The motor's just moving me along here, and that's nice. But the cargo bike really wants you to pedal. Sure, you can use throttle only, but it works a lot better when you're doing pedaling and allowing the pedal assist to just kind of do its thing. That seems to be where this bike really shines. Of course, I'm gonna add some throttle to get up this big hill. 16 miles an hour. Oh, it's got up a little bit there at the end. 17, 18, 19. See, that's nice. Imagine having 2 kids or a kid back there, or even just your cargo, 30, 40 pounds. Pedaling up a hill with 30 pounds, oof, you'd have to have legs of iron. Something else that's kind of interesting about these cargo bikes that I've been excited about. When you travel abroad or go to a lot of these bigger cities, all of your delivery guys, your Uber Eats, your, what's the other one? DoorDash, most of them are running around on e-bikes. They're doing their delivery on these things as opposed to a car. And you think about what the profit margin of that would be, right? Car's expensive, upkeep's expensive. In the scheme of things, this bike is pretty cheap. I think it retails for $1,300. Maybe it was $1,399. I don't remember. It's on sale right now for $999. That's a lot cheaper than a car. You could make up your money doing Uber Eats or DoorDash on one of these things pretty quick, and you wouldn't have to carry all the food and stuff on your back. Get a nice little insulated cooler, bungee it down there, and Bob's your uncle. Ooh, the wind is going. The flags are snapping. All right, let's try our little off the beaten path section. See how this thing does with the chunky 20 by 4 inch tires. It's nice having the 7-speed derailleur, that in conjunction with the motor. You can almost always find the right ratio for what you're trying to do. Very well thought out. Let's just go across the grass. Let's just give it a try. Through the grass, no problem. Over the bridge. Let's see if it'll make it up this hill. We're gonna go back to power mode 5. We're gonna do our big hill test. Full throttle, let's see what it'll do. 1,500 watt motor. No pedaling. Oh, it's working. Oh, yeah. Not many of the bikes I've tested have made it up that hill, so that was fantastic. Like, ooh, the bumps, you can kind of hear the rack back there bouncing around a little bit. I think that's enough adventure. Let's get back onto the paved world. So yeah, thus far, I'm enjoying the TST Carrier 20-inch long tail cargo bike. I like the stability. I like the big giant motor. I like the payload capacity. I like how simple the gauge is. It's really easy to put it in the mode you want it to. It's not confusing at all. Not sure how well it's reading on camera, but it's very easy to see, even in the sunlight. Well, let's talk about what maybe I don't like about it. Kind of mentioned this at the beginning. Not super crazy about cable brakes. I'd rather they were hydraulic brakes. Now you can get on, AliExpress or whatever, and you could find some e-bike hydraulic brakes for pretty cheap. I think for the price point, it probably should have come with hydraulic brakes. Now, to be fair, am I having any problem stopping? No, it's doing just great. The other thing I'm not super thrilled about is the absence of a bell. Really not that big of a deal. I'd put a nice big cool brass bell or a bell that's shaped like a donut or something kind of fun. The only real nitpick I have about this is the center stand. The center stand is situated in such a way that it's really hard for me to get my toe up underneath it and grab it and prop it up onto the center stand. I wish it was like a motorcycle where there was like a little extra arm sticking out or some sort of pad that'd be easier for me to grab. And then the last thing that I'm not crazy about is the little racks on the bottom for passenger feet. I hit my heels on them as I'm pedaling quite often. Are any of these things a deal breaker? I don't think so. Nothing's gonna be perfect. And I think for the price point, it's really hard to beat this thing. A lot of your cargo bikes are really expensive. My neighbor, he's really into cargo bikes. He just spent several $1,000s on a used cargo bike. So, we look at this one for, right now you can get it for about $1,000. You're getting a lot for your money. You're getting all the core functionality. You're just missing out on a few of the little nice features. All right, now into kind of more of an urban setting where I suspect these will spend more of their time. It seems to do better here than even on the bike path. The little twisties of the bike path where you're turning it a lot. Again, long wheelbase. It's a little slower to turn, leans a little bit more to get around the turns. On your urban streets, doing great. Look, we're going 19 miles an hour up this hill. Man, most of these residential streets are 20 miles an hour, so we're going with the flow of traffic. We're not in anybody's way. How great is that? And again, think like if maybe you are gonna do Uber Eats or DoorDash or something on this, you're gonna be on city streets a lot. If you are running to the grocery store, it's unlikely there's a bike path that takes you there. You're gonna need to spend time on residential and rural streets. And it's nice that this thing can really run the pace and the speed really well. I like it. I like it. So, as we head back up the hill, let's wait till we get over this big loud metal plate that always makes a racket. Who do I think this bike is for? Well, I think there's several people this thing would appeal to. Number one would be the parent with kiddos. Yeah, you can put, I've seen 2 kids on the back of these. These things are all over my neighborhood. Everybody with kids has them. It's easier to throw the kids in the back of this, go to the park, do whatever. Super, super convenient. And then just think about all your grocery store runs and stuff like that. So I think like your small family, this thing is awesome. I think the price point makes it really palatable to pick one up. Another demographic that I think would really like this would be your hunter. We have a lot of hunters in this area. Obviously got those big mountains right there, a lot of hunters. We have these chunky off-road tires, we have the suspension. I think this thing could be really useful, and you could, you have that hauling capacity should you have a successful hunting trip. And finally, honestly, a student who has a lot of books that they're dragging around. You just hate the backpack thing. You don't want to ride around campus with a big backpack on your back. This is great. Throw your bags in that rack in the back, and off you go. It's really an interesting bike because it has all the features of every other e-bike out there, but the carrier component of it just makes it so much more usable and practical. It's more than just something you can take down to the park to enjoy the afternoon. Yes, it can be used like that, but the carrying capacity, you know, it's like having an SUV versus a sedan. Really nice. I really like it. All right, so final thoughts on the TST carrier 20-inch long tail cargo bike. I really like it. I think it's really great. As I mentioned just a minute ago, it does all the things any other e-bike would do, but you just get so much more capability out of it. The Step-Thru makes it easy to get on and off. The center stand makes it really stable. You know, you get a lot of flexibility. If you want to carry somebody, there's a place to put their feet. Their feet are out of harm's way. They're not going to get caught. It has fenders front and rear, so if you have to ride in inclement weather, you're not going to get filthy. I think it's got a lot going for it. If you want to learn more about the TST carrier e-bike, I have all the information for you down in the description, including a really great coupon code that'll help save you a little bit of cash. Thanks for riding with me today. I had fun. I hope you had fun. If you're curious about the TST carrier 20-inch cargo bike, I think you'll like it. I like it. Give it a check. Give it a check-see. See what you think. In any case, thanks so much for watching, and we'll ride with you next time. Or we'll see you next time.